Good morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you are. I'm Paul Clark and welcome to my 100th YouTube video. Now, who would have believed it? Just under 2 years ago when I posted my first video, I'll still be doing them today and enjoying every one of them. It's no good, can't see a thing with those. So, as a little celebration of the 100th video, today's tutorial, which is this lovely parrot, or is it a macaw, or is it the same thing?
Get on with it.
I'm going to be giving this away to one lucky winner. So all you have to do is to put a comment, just one comment, down in the comment section below. Say anything you want, and we've got some whizzy software which will pick out at random one lucky winner, and this will be sent off to them. So for those of you who might be watching this in the future, this will mean nothing to you, but for those of you who follow weekly, we'll be doing the draw this coming Sunday, which is April the 10th, where the lucky winner will be picked and announced in next week's video. So come and join me, and we'll paint this line and wash step by step together. Now before we start, just quickly a couple of things. Hang about till the end because we've got some fantastic watercolour paintings of parrots painted by our Facebook group. They're really worth taking a look at. And also, if you like to paint wildlife, particularly birds, then a couple of YouTube channels that I would highly recommend are first Paul Hopkinson, who paints really super fine detailed, very realistic watercolour wildlife paintings. His details are down below in the description. But if you prefer something, say, a little bit looser and you like to splash around with the paint a bit, then I would recommend Tom Shepherd. Got some fantastic paintings, particularly birds, great tutorials. So again, his details are down below in description. So let's get going, shall we? Okay, so for today's materials, my paper is some ARCHRE cold press, £140, and it's in a block, so it won't need stretching. My colours, and there's lots of them today. We have a PYRROLE red, but any bright red will do, like a cadmium red. Some ALIZARIN crimson, some cadmium orange and yellow, burnt umber, yellow ochre, Prussian blue, French ultramarine, sap green, phthalo green, but as a viridian will do, and some Paynes grey, and just 3 brushes from my range, a number 12 and number 6 round, and a 3/4 inch flat. Okay, so here we have the stunning reference photo taken from Pixabay, and here is my pencil sketch, as always free to download from my website, link below in the description. Now when I'm working in pen and wash, I always like to have a pencil as a guide first. So today I'm going to be using a number 12 garden stick, simply sharpened at the end, and some waterproof India ink, but any waterproof black marker will do. Now with this stick method, you do end up having to dip your stick into the ink fairly frequently, but what I do love is this crusty broken line you get, especially when using a rough textured cotton paper like this ARCHRE. Not sponsored, of course, but if Mr. ARCHRE is listening, I won't say no to a truckload of paper. So once all the ink work is done and it's totally dried, I'll rub out all the pencil work. Off we go. Now for the background, I'm painting in some clean water and then splashing in all wet in wet some blues and greens, just letting the colours move and blend and let them do their own thing. Now, animal paintings can look very effective on a plain white background, but I like a bit of both, so I'm only painting in the top left and bottom right, leaving the rest unpainted. It just gives a nice artistic feel and contrasts well with the more detailed work of the bird. While still wet, I'm sprinkling in a touch of table salt to give a sort of mottled effect, and also while still damp, splatting in a few drops of clean water. Now for the parrot himself, and I'm simply painting in some clean water into this middle section of his body, and then with my number 12 brush and some PYRROLE red, letting it blend into the area that I've just wet. And I'm not worried if it bleeds over some of the outlines around his head. Then into the wet hair with a touch of cadmium orange. And next with some alizarin crimson for a few darker shadows. Next with some cadmium yellow, and you need to work quite fast here because I want this to blend in with the red above. So have your washes pre-mixed and ready to go. This is also another advantage of using a cotton paper, as it will stay wet longer, giving you more time for these blends to mix. The last thing you want is the colour to stop with a hard edge into the next colour. Here is a little sap green. Next is some Prussian blue, and all these mixes are a fairly milky consistency, about 60% water, 40% paint. And of course we're getting a little bit of green colour here as the yellow and blue mix. Now at the bottom of his feathers I'm changing the Prussian blue to a much warmer blue, and this is some French ultramarine. Still all merging in with the previous wash above. Now here in my studio today, it's not particularly warm, so the washes are staying wet, long enough for the colours to blend. So if you find that your washes are drying too quickly, just give it a quick spray with some clean water. Here I'm just drying my brush and lifting out a few highlights. The paper is still damp here, so I'm adding in some Payne's grey into the cool blue areas of the feathers and burnt umber into the warm colours for the shadows. Okay, so now we need to let this totally dry. So it's a perfect time for a short break. And how about a potted parrot cocktail? Now you've got to try these things. Oh, that's not bad. Now for his beak, and this is just some yellow ochre with a touch of burnt umber on the tip. Same here with the top of the tree stump, but a drop of Payne's grey into his feet. A nice creamy consistency of Payne's grey here. And now the top of the stump is dried, I'm painting in the rest with burnt umber. Next, with my number 6 brush, a few feathery details, obviously using the matching colours to the feathers below. Here, a few burnt umber details in his beak and some watery Payne's grey around his eye. Now I've allowed this to totally dry, and then I'm coming back in with my black ink, as I really want this to look like a nice line and wash and give it this real illustrative feel. Just a touch of burnt umber for a few more little shadows, and then a white pastel pencil for a few little highlights. There we go. That was great fun. I do like a bit of colour. Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did, and you'll give it a go. This one's not too difficult. Just make sure you get the drawing right first. As we know, you can't make a good painting from a bad drawing, so just try and get that bird and the proportions just right. So, coming up now, as I said earlier, are some wonderful parrots from the Facebook group. So I hope you enjoy looking at those. And as ever, please don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment if you want to win the picture, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week for another Watercolour Wednesday. Cheers now.